Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another interview on the Hallway Wrestling Podcast. I think we've had about four. When this comes out, there'll be about four in 2021. We're getting very lucky this year. I'm your host, the man that genetics forgot, Rian, and joining me today is the man who should be tearing it up in the Ring of Honor Pure Division right now. That'll happen very soon. He is a songbird of his generation, as Will Ferrell said in Step Brothers. It's Mr. Joe Hendry. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, thanks. Love that intro. Thanks very much.
No problem at all. How's things for you at the moment? We were talking a little bit off there, but like, how's things at the moment with all COVID? You've been doing quite
Yeah,
well,
it is what it is. I think there's so many ways that you could look at it. I'm a big believer in Stoic philosophy, which is basically control what you can control. That's what I've been trying to do. Is this going out audio and video or just
yeah,
audio?
it should. Yeah, it should be on that video. Yeah.
So yeah, you'll see the weights behind me. Just been trying to focus up on that, just getting bigger and stronger. I've been really trying to, basically work on everything I can work on that doesn't involve actually wrestling in the ring. Unfortunately, restrictions are at the point now where that's just not possible. So yeah, just got to find progress and meaning in other ways.
Yeah, you've got that lovely green screen as well on the music. So you're doing a lot of good stuff. And I've spoken to Kerry Silken and I've spoken to LSG.
Awesome.
And they've been saying that how you're probably going to echo those sentiments. How good Ring of Honor have been keeping you busy. You've been doing a lot of media work. It's you are like not just a wrestler. We know from your ICW and WCPW that outside the ring you're fantastic. So how has Ring of Honor used your strengths to aid you in the lockdown?
Well, it's been fantastic. I couldn't have asked for a better employer right now. It's awesome. Like, to give you an example, I've got a show called Technique Tuesdays, which is their YouTube show where I break down what's just happened on television, but I basically break down the scientific side of professional wrestling. So if a move has particular origins in freestyle wrestling or judo or jiu-jitsu, that's the type of stuff that we talk about. I try and analyze it in a way that wrestling hasn't been done before. So that's been a lot of fun. So we've been doing that. But then again, also I had a call the other day where I got the chance to speak to a whole bunch of people that worked at the company in a different department, kind of relaying some of my experiences and making video content in a pandemic. So I was able to, get a new experience there. That was really cool. I send in stuff from time to time. We actually even co-produced an episode of television together. When there was an episode, this is before they returned to tapings, they did a kind of best of episode of a bunch of different wrestlers. I had an episode of TV, and this is before we were in lockdown. Me and my brother were going out and we were filming vignettes and scenes all over Edinburgh, and then we were sending them in, and we used that to make an episode of television. So we were able to collaborate from even though we were an ocean apart. So I've done the videos as well, some of the viral videos and stuff on TikTok and whatnot. So they've been really cool. But Ring of Honor have just been awesome. They've basically taken this stance and policy that they're just going to support everybody throughout the pandemic. So to have that kind of security and support throughout this situation, it's just been I can't imagine what it would have been like to not have that. I'm so thankful that I've got that. And
Yeah,
Ring of Honor is a family for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like not even some like normal 9 to 5s wouldn't be that not that secure in Ring of Honor doing it to this talent. It's with a lot more like talent on their roster. But yeah, you were saying that if we're talking about like your career, it's everyone knows it's like amateur wrestler, and then you transitioned into then the pro wrestling, then amateur wrestling came in, and then back to pro wrestling. But
I actually hadn't done amateur wrestling until I was 27.
Yeah, it's mental when you see it in that. I'm just thinking that pure. We'll get onto that pure division in a minute, but on the wiki page, on your beautiful wiki page, it said that you have a degree in business and marketing. If I'm not mistaken, there's a degree in marketing, is there?
Yeah, I've got a first class MA honors in business and marketing. I actually got to do a talk to the students who are now graduating at Heriot Watt University the other day as well. So I'll be kind of branching out that way as well. That's pretty cool. But yeah, that's it's weird. Like for anyone, if you're wanting to become a wrestler, you're thinking, oh, should I go to university and all that? It's hard for me to say right now because I think university it depends where you are. Like in Scotland, university is free. So it's like you might as well. So for me, it was great. And in my viewpoint, studying business, no matter what you want to get into, if you're going to get paid, business is involved. Every business is a business, you know? So I think it's been phenomenally valuable to have that degree for sure throughout my career. When I left university, I got a bunch of jobs that didn't require a degree. And it was actually harder to get just a job serving soup at my local, it's called Ocean Terminal, this big shopping center. It was cheaper for me to get a job. It was harder for me to get a job serving soup there than to get something that was actually related to my degree. So it definitely, having the degree opened doors, and it gave me a bit of cash flow to execute some ideas with like custom entrances and stuff like that. So yeah, for sure, having the degree has been a big part of this. And also, I don't think I would have been emotionally ready and mature enough to get into wrestling any sooner than I did. So I've got no regrets about the path I took for sure.
Oh no, yeah, because that kind of just explains it all, because you outside the ring is what makes Joe Hendry inside the ring like even better, because everyone understands the character, and then that goes on to like the videos, and we all love all those videos from stemming from ICW going into WCPW. What were some of is there any one in particular, any story in particular from filming them, or any video in particular that you've just really enjoyed? I love the Jack Jester one is amazing. The Drew Galloway ones, they're all fantastic. I was just wondering if the thought process behind them.
The Venga Boys one, like I remember it was literally the night before I'd driven through to speak to my brother about it. And I was like, yeah, I just don't have a concept for this. And it's tomorrow. I just feel like I should do something for this. And we got thinking that his catchphrase was like boom.
Yeah.
And then it was like boom, boom, boom. It's like, maybe we got something here. Because we'd originally thought of like like Joe Hendry's in my room, but then we because his catchphrase was boom, we thought actually we'll put him in the room, and we switched it around, went back and filmed it, edited it that night. I mean, a lot of the time, it was done so last minute. I mean, the one with the wee man, the Justin Bieber one, that was, I swear to God, that was done. It was something insane. It was like 90 minutes record audio, video, and editing, like all in one. And I recorded it somewhere else. So it was like when I had the idea, jumped in the car to this guy I knew who had a mic at the time, because I didn't have, it's so crazy looking back. I just didn't have the audio equipment. So I recorded it. I mean, here's a crazy one for you. The Pokemon one, I recorded the vocals on my dad's phone because I just didn't have a decent mic. So I recorded it. My dad had an iPhone.
But I think that suits that would have suited ICW in a way, like the kind of rough edges, like rustic underground 100%, stuff.
100%. Yeah. Like, I mean, the again, the Pokemon one that was really fun because it was me, my dad, and my brother. We filmed that so we left the house at like, let's say it was 4:15, went up to Arthur's Seat, filmed it, and we were back home by 5:00. All the best ones are just done like that. They're done in a flash. All the ones that take loads of time, those are the ones that aren't as good. I always find that with anything creative, the stuff that just comes easily and quickly, that's always the best stuff.
The least time you have to think, the better.
You're in that flow state, you know?
Yeah, the video that I put up when I announced that you were coming on was the Hendry ball. What was it like? What was it like going head over heels in that thing? Were you like this? It
was terrifying. It was terrifying. I'll tell you why. Because of the dimensions of the ball, it was just wide enough to get through the entrance. And I mean, I showed up to this venue with this ball and it was like scraping off the side and you're going, oh, Jesus, this is not going to get through. But it was to the point where you had to basically you couldn't blow the Zorb up. So basically the way it worked is once the fans came in, we couldn't blow the Zorb up again because we needed a PowerPoint to blow up the Zorb. But there was to get into the backstage area that was too narrow and there weren't any available PowerPoints backstage. So the last time that we got to blow up the ball, because there was some sort of leak in it or whatever, it just gradually deflated. So it had been like maybe we knew there was going to be about half an hour between when we could blow the ball up to its fullest and roll down the ramp. Now, I tried it with that distance of time, and I did a forward roll just before the show started, and I smashed my head off the concrete because the ball was not it was not full. It was leaking air constantly. So I remember just before I went out, it's one of those situations, no one will admit it, but I know there was a whole bunch of people who would have just loved that to have failed or for me to fall off the ramp. And I started to second guess myself. I was like, oh, I mean, I don't need to do the roll, right? It'll be fine if I just walk out. And my gut said to me, nah, man, you got to do the roll, and what happens. And in my mind, I was like, the odds of me rolling down this ramp and landing on my feet are just so slim. But I was like, hopefully, if I do continue forward or fall off, at least it will be comedic, and hopefully the ball will be blown up enough so that it doesn't kill me. So basically, I did the
I think a lot of people would have thought when I looked at that at first, when I saw that first, I thought you're going to roll all the way down to the apron, and I was like, oh no. But even doing one roll was hard enough. Okay, so moving on from that. Obviously, I said off air that the WCPW was my introduction into indie wrestling. I mean, I've since gone back into the back catalogs and watched it, but it was my first kind of. It was free to air. It was Friday nights. It was like kind of easily accessible, and you think
good times, man.
It was good times, and like, what was it like? Because you were one of the originals. It was you and Big Damo was kind of the two names that people have synonymously as the two people who like were cutting the promos in the What Culture offices and stuff. But then three shows in, they have Lethal, Kurt Angle, Cody Rhodes. Yeah. What was that like to be like shot? It was basically shot out of a cannon, and all of a sudden, like, there's venues in Newcastle that have leaks in the roof. I've heard the stories, and like Cody Rhodes is there and Jay Lethal's there. What was that like?
I mean, these guys have all wrestled in kind of smaller shows and stuff, so they kind of expect that sort of thing. But I think what we didn't, I didn't know quite how big it was going to be. I remember when I first got contacted for it, and I remember when I really went, oh God, this is going to be huge, was when I looked up the size of What Culture's channel, at that time. And the crazy thing is, at that time, they must have 300,000 subs or something like that. Mm-hmm. But that was still way beyond anything that I'd been used to. And I was like, oh, this is pretty big. So I kind of came up with the idea. I thought to myself, I'm going to offer to go down and do promos. Because why not? So I offered to go down and do promos. I went and did it. And then just because I had gone down and offered promos, they were able to build a story. And then so logically, it just made sense for me to be I think I was in the first main event. I think it was me and Damo in the first ever What Culture Pro Wrestling main event. And that's a lesson to everybody. I caught some heat back in the day because I'd only been in the business 3 years, but I was getting all these big matches. And I says, well, I thought outside the box. I made sure that I was very good at promos, and I offered to go down and do them. I had the same opportunity as everybody else, but I offered to go down and film some stuff. And even just being proactive like that, that's what led to all these opportunities. I've told the Kurt Angle story a million times, but that all came about because a fan DM'd me and said, what's your dream match? Me and Kurt got talking on DM, and I went to What Culture and I was like, I think we can get Kurt Angle, but if I bring him in, I have to wrestle him. And that's got to be the deal. And
I watched that
the deal, thankfully.
Yeah, I watched that video there, and like when people think to the career of Joe Hendry, that is the career defining, the career like changing moment where because I think you said it best, where a lot of people knew you obviously through the ICW stuff and probably other Scottish promotions as the video guy and the kind of we'll have a bit of fun, but you were probably chomping at the bit to show off this amateur wrestling background, and no better place to do it than Kurt Angle in the main event of a pay-per-view. What was that day like? Jim Cornette and Jim Ross on commentary, like your walk up to the building. How was that?
I've had 3 moments that I'd say were just like mental. And one of them was, a lot of people don't know this, but I actually had my first singles match outside the training school in a WWE ring. And so I had my first, it was like a training match. There was no audience there, but it was the first kind of singles match I'd ever had outside the training school. And it was me versus Emil Satochi in the Manchester Evening News Arena in front of CM Punk, Paul Heyman, Big Show, Fit Finlay, like, you know, you're talking like high pressure.
Jesus Christ.
And that was my first singles match. So that was pretty crazy. The next crazy moment, I think, was being Rusev's lawyer on TV, because, you know, it's just very rare that you know, an extra talent would get time to talk on TV, especially in a botched Russian accent, you know.
And you
But
get
that
those.
was that. Yeah, that
That's
was
where all the memes are. That's where all the memes are from. I noticed.
yeah, that was pretty nuts. And then really it's the Kurt Angle one. I guess if you look at where I was at that time in my career, to wrestle Kurt Angle in the main event of a pay-per-view with Jim Ross and Jim Cornette commentating, you can imagine that was just, I started training in 2013. So you can imagine that was just bananas at the time. But here's the thing though, everything that was happening in my life was always bananas. You know what I mean? Like in 2013, I started training. I had a WWE tryout. In 2014, I was working, you know, I was doing 3 shows a week. In 2015, that's when I was getting all the extra work. I did the Rusev thing. In 2016, I went and did my Ring of Honor tryout. I had the Kurt Angle match. I had, you know, I had so many. That's when the entrances were kicking off. In 2017, I became What Culture champ. We were touring all over the world. And then in 2018, I went to the Commonwealth Games, you know, so it's like my whole life until this year, really. And then, you know, in 2019, I get signed to Ring of Honor, and then, you know, starting to build up a bit of steam going into 2020. It's going to be me and Dalton versus the Briscoes. I'm really feeling that's going to be our breakout match as a tag team. And then COVID hits. So this is the crazy thing. Now that COVID has happened, it's given me a chance to really reflect on everything that's happened and really see how lucky I was. Because at the time, it's a struggle to get to that point. So you don't always think to yourself, I should really take a second to take this in and to enjoy it. Whereas I think now that's kind of forced me to do that. Because I mean, every year's just been nuts. So maybe looking back, maybe it was a good thing to have a year to just take a bit of perspective, you know?
Yeah, smell the roses a little bit. But
yeah.
I think just even equally as important as that Kurt Angle match, which is a fantastic match. It's free on YouTube. That's the state. There's so many matches that shouldn't be free on YouTube, but you know, that's the day and age. But the heel turn at the end was probably just as important for you as well, because I really enjoyed the prestige run that you had in WCPW. Because how was that for you? Because obviously you were probably growing up in an era where you saw all these factions like Evolution and all that. What was it like for you? It must have been a bit of a market moment to be like, I'm leading my own faction, and that's a different side of creativity to the comedy one.
Oh yeah, like, so I had the idea for the Prestige in 2014. It was an idea I came up with for ICW, and it was I wanted it to be me and 3 other talents that were kind of, you know, coming up through the ranks at that time, and for whatever reason it couldn't happen. So I hung on to that idea because I loved the name, I loved the idea. And it takes inspiration from the film The Prestige, which is, you know, all about, it's almost like the Prestige isn't about the magic trick, it's about everything that leads up to the magic trick. And I think that was my way of saying that I just felt like wrestling was going in this direction and we're kind of forgetting about some important stuff over here. So I thought, I'm just going to go in this real kind of classic other direction and really commit to what I'm doing. And it was hard, you know, it was challenging. So I came up with that. I pitched it to management, and I fought very hard with management to get control over the music, because they had, like, pardon me, sorry, I've got a Diet Coke here. So I pitched to management about the music, and I remember submitting what was to be my entrance theme individually while I was in the Prestige, and they were like, nah, it's too happy, it's too this. And I was like, right, I got something in mind. And I said to the bosses, I was like, give me one more time, give me one more chance to do this. And then that's when I came up with the Prestige theme, which is, I think, is one of my better themes. So that was really a really tough recording session, but got there in the end. Really, we were in that flow state, just firing on all cylinders, got it done. And yeah, it was fun. We took that faction all over the world. You know, we faced like the top teams in the world at the time, you know, like War Machine and Bullet Club, and you know, it was just a crazy time. It was awesome. It was really awesome.
And it was a fantastic time, because you got to see it was mental seeing all the names and the Pro Wrestling World Cup. What was it like to be part of the Pro Wrestling World Cup? Before we chat about Ring of Honor, that must have been just a mental idea. When did you first get wind of a Pro Wrestling World Cup, and what was your reaction to it?
I mean, the weird thing for me was, I think this was just before I became champion, and I was in the World Cup. I think I actually got knocked out in like the first round by Kenny Williams or something like that. And I remember at the time thinking, oh, I don't know, like, is this gonna? Because usually, I mean, I'm kind of thinking the direction we were going. I felt like I was making moves towards either the internet or the world title. And I was like, if I go out in the first round, is that going to, I remember worrying that was going to kind of devalue what I was doing. But actually, almost by going out in the first round, I get the way it was sold. It was almost like it was kind of a, oh, he caught me type thing. And then I think that's the cool thing about being a true heel is anytime you lose, there's always an excuse, so it kind of storyline worked out okay, actually, being in the World Cup. And then after that concluded, I think I won the title very soon after. Actually, it might be in the next show, or no, I think Kirby might have won the belt the next show, and then it was me after. But I will say that the match that me and Kirby had, the one where I won the title, that's free on YouTube as well. Yeah. And it will never be, I feel like, this sounds really arrogant to say it, but I'm just going to say it. I feel like this is a match that people will look back on and go, they did something pretty special that day. And I don't think, I don't know what I've seen, but I've seen something pretty interesting here. It will never get the credit for what it is in today's day and age, but I think I could see it cropping up in 10 years' time on a Reddit post where someone goes, this match is interesting. It's odd. It's off. I think, to be honest with you, wrestling is all about getting a reaction. And when people watched the match with me and Kirby, that it was uncomfortable. I just don't know if many matches have really genuinely conjured that feeling in a long time.
Yeah, and then the another one of those moments in WCPW that must have taken some kind of thought and consideration was the triple threat cage match between you, Joseph Connors, and Drew Galloway, and the finish of that match. Talk to me about that. That must have been, what was that? I watched it. I watched the match just there, and I'm just thinking, like, this is Batista and John Cena all over. What's going to happen here?
It was pretty close. It was pretty close. I mean, here's the deal. Like, Drew's the man. So yes, you can see the thing about Drew is he will get the best out of whoever he wrestles, from all the way from me to Goldberg. You know what I mean? So anything that you see, any interaction that you see me and Drew have, it was just such a privilege and a learning experience to be there. And again, one of those things that was just everyday life for me at the time. It was, oh, cool, working a program with Drew, nice one. You don't kind of realize, sometimes you don't realize how special these things are until they've transpired, So working with Drew was just, I really enjoyed working the program with him. It was awesome.
Yeah, and now before I let you go, the ROH is caught wind of you through, would it have been the UK tour? They were taking a lot of people on for the ROH UK tours. How did Ring of Honor come about? Well, and then how did it turn into the contract last year, and then your tag team with Dalton Castle, which is fantastic.
So this is what happened. This was just before the entrances really started taking off. I think it was 2016. I felt like I was really, and again, I'm not meaning to sound arrogant. I'm just kind of speaking about how it was. Like in ICW, I felt like I was a hot act. I felt like my entrances were just blowing up. And I just felt booking wise, I was like, I'm just not being portrayed as a star here despite this. And again, this is one of these things. It's like, that's, everybody's got their reasons, and that's their, I love that phrase that Chael Sonnen says. It's like, if you think you can do better as a promoter, then, start a promotion. So, no complaints there. I always do my walking with my feet. So if I'm kind of feeling like I'm not, where I should be or could be, I put it on myself to go and elevate myself elsewhere. So that's why I pushed myself to go and do the Ring of Honor tryout. And this was just before What Culture came about. So I went and did the tryout. First day went okay. I made a couple of mistakes, a couple of faux pas, nothing massive. But when the second day came, I was just firing on all cylinders. And I knew, I knew it was going well. And the cool thing about, sorry, I've got an alarm going off there. Cool thing about Ring of Honor is what they were looking for was like good fundamentals, good foundations, good, in-ring psychology. And that I felt really spoke to my strengths, mixed with the gimmick that I showed them as well. I didn't get signed there, but one of the audio engineers that I like to talk to, he basically told me that, like, no, you got over there, and there was talk of it, but it just didn't quite happen then. And maybe that was for the best, because if I had got signed then, maybe I wouldn't have been able to go off and do all the things that I'd done with What Culture, So it's funny how these things were, and the Commonwealth Games, So maybe everything happens for a reason, but that led to a couple of tours. I think in 2016, it was like Hendry's got something, but he's just not quite there yet. So I think that's where 17 and 18 gave me a real chance to go out there and, legitimize myself with the Commonwealth Games, which I think, back in 2016, you look at what I was doing with the entrances, I might not be the first person that you would associate with Ring of Honor. Whereas I think after doing the Commonwealth Games and legitimizing myself and winning 2 British titles in freestyle and Greco, I think that gave me the legitimacy that I needed. So I did shows for them in 2016, 2018. And I did a show in the Corn Exchange in Edinburgh, and it was me versus Silas Young. And because it was my hometown, the reaction was just like way louder than it should have been. So they were just like, they're probably thinking, oh my God, this guy's over in the UK. But I was like, I had the whole hometown thing going on. But that was one of my favorite matches. The crowd were just going bonkers. So it was such good fun. That led to another tour towards the end of the year. I had a couple of decent performances, but it was a match with Jonathan Gresham to round off the tour that I think got me the job personally. And then I actually, because, I'd been working for Impact a little bit, not under contract, but I think there was confusion as to whether I was signed to Impact or not. So I think in the industry, there was a perception, and there was someone really high up in the industry in another company came to me and says, listen, you might want to put this out there that you're a free agent, because I can tell you for a fact that I know of multiple companies that think you're under contract right now. And so I created this show called Free Agent, which was basically to promote the fact that I was a free agent. And then it got to a point where I remember having a phone call with a friend, and I was like saying, I had a few kind of paths I could go down. He says, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to go to Ring of Honor. And he was like, well, why don't you just call them up? I was like, you know what? I think I will. So I called them up, and timing wise, that was when timing wise, everything just worked out great. And, really great process. I thought everyone there was awesome to deal with, Hunter, Greg, Joe Koff, everybody's just been awesome to deal with. It's a great place to work. And everything has just felt right. I felt like I fit in there. I really enjoyed it. And to be quite honest with you, I felt like I was living the dream,
Yeah.
So when COVID hit, it was just like, I know it's one of these, poor me type things. Cause it's like, oh, boo-hoo, you're a wrestler who can't wrestle for a little bit, but I just can't
wait
tell
till
you.
You come back. Just wait till you come back.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I just can't tell you how strange it is to fight, scratch, and claw through all the difficulties, all the drama, all the BS, to finally get there and be living your dream for a little bit, and then for it to just be taken away. It's an odd experience, but this is where we find out who's mentally tough enough to bounce back. So that's why I'm trying to keep in as best shape as I can. I'm improving my physique all the time. There's a lot of other people doing that, and that's what people got to realize. The competition in wrestling is so fierce now. So much talent in wrestling. It's unbelievable. So if you want to do this, you got to just be pushing it in every area.
Yeah. And
that's what I'm trying.
I think you are perfect for this kind of it's this Ring of Honor is kind of a hybrid of what's modern wrestling and then the old Ring of Honor, because we've got people like Danhausen, who's fantastic. And then we've got the pure division, and you can do both, and I think that Ring of Honor are licking their lips at having someone like you, where they can interchange in between the two. You've had to sit again. We have to go back to it. You've had to sit there and watch a pure tournament go on and a new pure champion being crowned.
I was originally supposed to be in that. How
eager are you to get back there and lay claim to that title shot and and show off all those skills. Your partner Dalton Castle had a pure match last week, a very good pure match last week. But how was that for you?
Yeah, it's sometimes you have to take something away to realize how much it means to you. And not that I ever took anything for granted, but you're just like God, what I would give to just wrestle again. It's just, especially the pure style, because I love grappling. It's what I like to do. I like jiu-jitsu. I like freestyle wrestling. I like Greco. I like judo. I do that stuff in my spare time, not now, obviously, but before this is all happening. So to be able to merge that with pro wrestling, that's like the dream situation for me.
Yeah.
I'd love to get back at it, and do this.
Yeah, and one more question before you can plug everything away. And if you were to face a pure champion or one of the wrestlers from the pure division from pre 2006 ROH, who would you like to get in there with and mix it up?
Am I right in saying I'm trying to think? Did CM Punk ever have a pure title match? I think he did. Did he win the pure title?
He must have had a pure. I'm thinking Nigel McGuinness. The Nigel McGuinness comes to my mind first, but I'm pretty sure CM Punk would have had one.
So it was AJ Styles defeated CM Punk in the tournament final.
Well, he qualified, so
yeah. So I mean, I would pick CM Punk for sure. I love kind of see stuff that you can get your teeth stuck into and create some real heat. And the best feuds are the ones that always kind of blur the lines a little bit. And I just think, I think CM Punk would just be phenomenal.
Yeah,
to come back. Like he is just, to me, I just think we're missing a big star, and I think that he just has that it factor. So I've had so many dream matches, but that would be one for sure, because I know in my heart that I could last with him on the microphone and in the ring. And I don't think there's many people that could honestly say that they could go toe to toe with CM Punk in the microphone, whereas I would relish that opportunity.
Well, there's a Stephen Amell posted a photo on Instagram today of him and CM Punk training in a wrestling ring. So not out
I know it's a little odd to say, what pure title match do you want, and then go, oh well, CM Punk for the promos. But it's just like it's hard not to. I think in terms of pure champions, I mean, I got to be honest. I think that Gresham is probably the most innovative wrestler out there right now. You know, I think that. I remember when we had a company-wide meeting at the headquarters, and I remember Jonathan Gresham kind of said how he wanted Ring of Honor to go and how he thought would be the best way for the company to move forward. And he said it with conviction, and that's what's happening. So it is cool to see someone have such a strong belief and vision, and for it to start becoming a reality. And he's the champ, but then on the other side of the coin, I feel that, I bring a different set of skills that I think, I can go toe to toe with anybody. So yeah, I think Gresham's up there, even in a kind of all time ranking for who I would like to face. I think I've had some of my best matches with Gresham, but I'd like to get my teeth stuck into a program, a little bit back and forth, like, building to something. It's hard to sit here at home, man. I tell you that, it's hard. Listen, I just want to get going.
Listen, once you get back there and win whatever title or have an amazing program, we'll have you back on and we'll chat about it 100%, because
sounds good.
Because this has been a great interview. Sorry for the internet connection.
That's all right. These things happen, man.
We're a busy house here, but you have so much going on. You want to plug it all? I don't know if you can remember it off your laundry list of things that you've got going on, but
yep. So basically the main thing, folks, is check out Ring of Honor Wrestling. We got a watch party every Monday, so come and join us for that. It's fun to watch the show with the roster. On Tuesdays, I got Technique Tuesdays on the Ring of Honor YouTube channel, so that's always fun as well. Super appreciate it if you can come and check that out. If you want to subscribe to me, it's youtube.com/Joe Hendry. I also have a wrestling training podcast called Wrestling University with Dr. Tom Pritchard and myself. So wrestlinguni.com if you want to check that out.
Something for everyone in the audience, and you can email me those links, and I'll get them straight in the description for you. And thanks for coming on. It's been fantastic. I've been the managing editor for Rian. That's been Joe Hendry, and thanks for listening.
Thank you.